Welcome to the last of our chalkboard series. Previously, we talked about the blackboard, the whiteboard, the mobile chalkboard, and then wall chalkboard. In this last series on the chalkboard, we'll be dealing with the magnetic board and the electronic boards. There are two electronic boards, the copy board and the interactive board. We are dealing with the magnetic board, the electronic copy board, and the interactive board, which is also an electronic board. What is magnetic chalkboard? It's any chalkboard that can accept magnets. You can take anything that has magnet attached to it. Why do we need to put magnet on things in the classroom? Because we want to be able to move things about on the board. Because we want to be able to stick things properly on the board. Imagine you have a chart or a picture and you want to put it up. What are you going to use? Pin? No, it won't hold on the whiteboard. Are we going to use Gary like some of us use them? We are messing up our board, or we use gum or sellotape. They probably won't hold. The best thing to use to stick things on your board is the magnets. So the magnetic chalkboard makes that happen. How do we know whether our chalkboard is magnetic or not? We can place anything that is magnetic on it. We have these children alphabets that have magnets attached at the board. If we have those ones, we can place it, or any other thing that has magnets. Or if we don't have magnets, we want to buy maybe a chalkboard and we want to check. You turn the board around and check. If you have a gray surface at the back of your board, it's metal, the color of metal, the gray metal color at the back of the board. That's a magnetic chalkboard. But if you have plastic or you have plywood, then it's not a magnetic chalkboard. What do we use magnetic chalkboards for? Use them to put up illustrations, small objects, flat objects, charts, pictures, graphs, whatever it is, you can put up there. When we have children that cannot write, but they can identify things, like nursery school children, a lot of them can identify the alphabets, so they can read them, but they can't write properly because they have not gotten to the age where they can write. We can give them the alphabets or the letters and tell them to arrange them on the board. Very nice. With children also, we can use it to teach like counting or addition and subtraction. For instance, 10 take away 5, we arrange 10 things on the board and then remove 5 things, and then the children will be able to follow up. So we can use it as counters. Then, any lesson that has to do with transfer or shift of some kind is a lesson for interactive board. Like we're teaching genotype or division of chromosomes. We're teaching genotype. Two parents have AA and AS. So we take the A from one parent and we take the S from the other parent and we arrange it. We can use it to teach anything that has to do with shifts and movements. We can also use it to teach things like movement of electrons in bondage or icon solutions. So anything that requires demonstrating with something moving, the magnetic board comes up very useful. Then we have electronic chalkboards. Electronic chalkboards are all chalkboards that make use of electronic devices or computers, make use of electricity. And we have two types of electronic chalkboard in the Nigerian school system: the electronic copyboard and interactive board. What is the electronic copyboard? It's a chalkboard that has a printer attached to it. It's a chalkboard that has a printer attached to it. This printer enables us to print whatever we write on the chalkboard. The copyboard has two pages, and we require electricity to move from one page to the other. So if we have a situation where we have a diagram on one page, then we can write on the other page without our learners seeing the diagram until they need to see it. And in doing that, what do we do? When it's time, we reveal the next page for the learners to see what is there. So it's a chalkboard that has a printer attached to it. It has two pages. We can print out what is there we have written on it, or we can transfer what is on the board to a computer. We can print out what is written on the board, or we can transfer what is on the board to a computer for storage. What we cannot do with the copyboard is to transfer something on our computer to the board. No, we only copy things on the board to the computer. The equipment we need most times is just the board. We can use the board all by itself. So we print, we write, we print, we move from one page to the other. Or in situations where we want to save things on the computer, we use the computer. So the computer is optional. What we need most times is just the board. We can write with our regular chalk, whiteboard chalk, and then we clean it. Then we have what are the problems? So before we go on to the interactive board, what are the problems we have using the copyboard? We say because it's usually white, it has all the problems of the white chalkboard or the whiteboard. It has all those problems. We cannot reveal the second page without electricity. While we can use the page facing us normally like a chalkboard without electricity, if we have material in the second page of the board, then we need electricity to be able to use it. Otherwise, like in our Nigerian situation, if you don't have electricity, then all the lesson we planned on the next page is gone. Then we have the interactive board, which I think is the most or not the most, what should we say now, is the most recent development in chalkboard production. The interactive board is the most recent development in chalkboard production. It's an electronic board that allows continuous exchange of information between it and the user. We can manipulate things on it, we can write things on it, expand what we've written on it, paint what we have on it. We can transfer things from the board to the computer, from the computer to the board. It's an amazing equipment to use for a chalkboard. To use it, we need several equipment. We need the specially designed whiteboard that is linked with electrical cables and all that, specially designed for the purpose of interactivity. Then it comes with a pen, special pen that we use with the board. For some, we can leave the pen and use our fingers, but a lot of them come with special pens that we use to calibrate them. Calibrate them, that means to start them up. Then we surely need a computer to use the interactive board. We use a multimedia projector. But these days we also have interactive boards that can do without the multimedia projector, so it's optional. If you want to print on it, a printer is optional. We also have public address systems. That optional if we have things recorded that we want to give to our learners. Then we have clickers optional. Clickers are things that learners can use to respond to questions on the board. So if you have 30 students, you can have 30 clickers so that when there are questions asked, they can respond. For those of us that watch things like the Oprah Winfrey show or the Steve Harvey show, there's sometimes people have to give the opinion. Wonder how do they give the opinion, and it shows on the board. Those are interactive boards, and what they are using are clickers. So you click your answer, and then it gives you a feedback of who gave what and not. So, what are the merits of the interactive board? Plenty. With other boards, you have to go to the chalkboard to write or whatever it is. With the interactive board, you do not have to go to the chalkboard. The teacher can control it from his desk using the computer. Whatever he wants to write on the board, he does it on the computer and it appears on the board. If he wants to clean something on the board, he cleans it on his computer and it cleans on the board. So the teacher can relax at his desk and do all his work. With the interactive board, you can transfer things from the computer to the board and from the board to the computer. It's unlike the electronic copy board where you only copy things from the board to the computer. With interactive board, remember that's why it's interactive, it's both ways. That you can communicate with your board, tell it to do things, and then there is feedback. You can store information on the board and retrieve it. Whatever you write on the board, you can store it and use it at a later date. The chalkboard usually comes with a lot of educational content on various areas. So it comes with educational content. Also, because most of them are smart boards, you can use them with the internet. They allow you to download materials, especially instructional materials, from the internet. You can manipulate the board, make it do all kinds of things. That problem of buying board masters is gone with the interactive board because you can write with your fingers on the board. You can erase things from your computer. You can write things from your computer, so you do not need to buy markers or chalk or whatever it is to write with the chalkboard. So imagine if we're spending like 250 naira a day to buy the whiteboard chalk, and then we have how many days? 3 months or 13 weeks. Imagine multiply it 90 days times 250. It adds up. With the interactive board, that cost is gone because we do not have to buy any chalk. We also do not have to spend time producing instructional materials, printing them out. No, whatever instructional materials we have, we can use our computers and use the board. Save them on the board for when we use them. It has the capacity to record every teaching. So everything we write, every teaching, it can record. So the interactive board is an amazing chalkboard to use. But it has challenges. It's not available in a lot of schools. It's not available in a lot of schools. Even when they're available in schools, especially government schools, you see them in computer rooms. Meanwhile, you have classrooms, they are not there, you see them in computer rooms. And because they're in computer rooms, the teachers do not have daily access to them. So they still make do with their regular chalkboard. The cost of the interactive board, especially at this time that we call our Tinubu economy, is high. Before you could buy for 160, 180,000. Now, some of them go for as much as 1.7 million, 1.5 million naira. So it's a problem. Electricity is an issue in using the interactive board. With the electronic copy board, without electricity, at least we can write on the board. With the interactive board without electricity, you cannot write on the board because we do not use regular markers, chalkboard markers to write on the board. So we can have issues of power failure, we can have issues of fluctuation. That means the power goes on and off, low, high, like it happens. Or we can have a surge that can blow up our board. The surge is sudden high increase of electricity voltage. So we can have those problems. Then we have technical problems. We have technical problems. Sometimes the board does not calibrate. When you turn on the board, you have to touch certain spots on the board, and then the board will tell you it has calibrated. But sometimes you try to do it, it does not calibrate. In Nigeria, a problem we have is absence of local content in the memory because all the boards in Nigerian education system are imported, and most of them are US or UK or Chinese specifications. Even when they are making to meet the international market, they need to make them to meet the American market or European market. So those are the contents they have there. So you have a situation, you're teaching children 1 plus 1, and then you're adding in pounds or in dollars. So we have that problem. We need a situation where we can put local content. Theft is a major problem with our interactive board. Theft. And there are very many things that are stolen. Sometimes the board is stolen. The laptops, because we use laptops with interactive board, if we keep them in the classrooms or whatever place, they're stolen. Those interactive boards that use multimedia projectors. These days, multimedia projectors have become common features in churches and event centers and so on and so forth. So there's always a ready market. So the rate of theft is very high. We have vandalism, people vandalizing interactive boards in schools. Things that have been put for us to learn, we vandalize them. Interactive boards usually put up on walls, and people rip them off the walls, or they pull off the cable attached to the board, or they scratch the surface with things and spoil them, or they use permanent markers. You cannot do that. These are expensive gadgets. We have also poor quality of interactive boards. If we go to a lot of places where we use interactive boards, especially in higher institutions, you see several of them in a particular classroom. Wherever you see more than one and the others on the ground, it means that the board is bad. Sometimes we have the boards, but we still use regular boards because the boards are bad. A lot of low quality interactive boards in the Nigerian school system. Maintenance issues. Maintenance has to do with servicing and repair. If we have boards, they're gadgets, they're electronic gadgets. We should also have a situation of repairing them or servicing them regularly. So far, I've not seen where to service the ones I have. We have software problems. Remember, we said we use software to install the boards. So the boards come with software. This software can crash if they are not used with compatible computers. For you to use them, you need a certain specification of computer. Sometimes we have lots of software. Imagine you install the software and you put it somewhere, and 3 or 4 years later, the board has an issue. The problem is that you can't find it or it's been lost. So if you have software, you have to keep them quietly. You also have hoarding of software. You have situations where the software is maybe installed in one laptop of the head teacher or a media technician, and then he hoards it, doesn't let other teachers use it, keeps it for himself because he wants control of that board. So that whenever anybody wants to use it, they have to call him. That is hoarding and it's wrong. We have interactive boards that sometimes we just buy them because we want to impress supervisors or accreditation panels that we have interactive boards and we just keep them. It is wrong to spend so much money to buy gadgets and then just keep them. When you don't use them, they spoil faster than when you use them. And a lot of times people don't use them because of where they are kept. If they're in regular classrooms, then you're tempted to use them. But when they're in computer labs, locked up, then they are not used. We have lack of ICT competence. Some people don't use sometimes the interactive boards are not used because of lack of competence in ICT. Teachers don't know how to use computers or other gadgets, so they stay away from them. We have poor internet service. To use the interactive board properly, to carry out all its functions, we need the internet. But a situation where you have very poor internet service or no internet service in the school system, then it's a problem. People are ignorant about the existence of interactive board. So those are some of the problems we have in using interactive board. Thank you very much, and this is the last of the series of Chalkboard. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, and make comments. Thank you very much.